What makes good romance? Characters? The narrative? Comedy? Maybe drama? To be honest with you, these are all ways to make romance shows better, but not always good. Today, I want to talk about two shows that are currently airing this season. 3D Girl Kanojo and Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. Both shows are romance anime and use the previously mentioned elements to make their respective shows better, but only one is good. My argument today is that the main feature that separates good romance from bad romance is the relationships. And not particularly romantic relationships, just how each character interacts with other characters, be it their romantic partner, friends, or simply their siblings. These interactions are the crux of a romance show. So let's take the time and look at the romance show that I consider to be bad and see how weak the character interactions are. The pool scene in episode 1 is a good example of this. First, it starts with a sort of contrived situation with them falling into the pool. Following that, there is a weird, seemingly offbeat conversation. The girl wrings out her shirt and he's taken aback by it, and she asks if he's a virgin, and he replies honestly. But this whole conversation is flat. Both characters talk at each other, but nothing of interest really comes from it. Their interaction is plain. The conversation is extremely one-sided. The main character talks most of the time, and whenever he's not talking, we are hearing his thoughts. It's hardly an interaction at all. We learn almost nothing about the female character through the actual dialogue, but instead through these moments where we are hearing our protagonist's thoughts. The funny thing is that both characters are relatively well written. I think in particular the main character is pretty well done. He's quirky, not your typical self-insert, and actually develops a decent bit throughout the narrative. The female character is lesser so, but she has her moments along with a few quirks herself, yet the relationship to one another just doesn't feel genuine. So let's move on and talk about the first scene where both characters meet each other in Wotakoi. There's an immediate air of familiarity, not just with the two main characters, but the two other characters who will be joining the main cast later. The main character begins chatting kindly with Hirotaka, but we get to hear her inner thoughts and find out that this is all a front to keep her secret from getting out. Hirotaka ends up only partially revealing her secret, but it hard cuts to them drinking together afterwards. Not only do their actions reveal the fact that they are otaku, it also shows that one of them is trying to hide it while the other isn't, that they have a past together, and instantly shows just how close the two of them really are. The scene is quick, but it's perfectly constructed to tell us as much about the main two characters as possible and show how the two act around each other in an office environment, which is instantly paralleled with how they act around each other outside of an office environment. This actually becomes a pretty common theme as well, as we see both Hanako and Toru doing the same thing, treating each other differently from inside the office rather than outside the office. And like I previously mentioned, it's not just relationships between the romantic partners. All four characters in the show act accordingly around each other. Hirotaka and Taro are friends at work despite Taro being the typical intimidating senpai, because Hirotaka is blunt and easily gets over his looks. The same can be said for Narumi and Hanako, because they both find out that they're secret fujoshi, thus they are constantly trying to see if they ship the same characters. All of their interactions seem genuine and make sense, thus making the show good. 3D Girl Kanojo just doesn't seem realistic. The female protagonist is extremely idealistic and instantly forgives cis. I'm not gonna even try that. And most of his conversations with other characters always seem to be one-sided. I don't really believe a single connection he has with other cast members. One example being Ayado. The two of them getting along does make sense, but they never really hold the conversation with any meaning. It feels as though she is simply there to cause a bit of drama in the show, and that's it. Only having one meaningful interaction with Igarashi of all characters. I think in the end, it's definitely the interactions and relationships the characters in Wotakoi build that make the romance anime good. The characters themselves, the comedy, and the drama are all handled much better in Wotakoi. But to say that 3D Girl Kanojo doesn't develop their characters have any moments of good drama, or even made me laugh a few times would be a straight up lie. As a matter of fact, I think the overall narrative of 3D Girl Kanojo may just be better than Wotakoi. Yet, throughout this show, the disconnect with the characters and their relationships destroyed my opinion of it. It did have the ability to get me invested with a few characters, the narrative, and so on. But at heart, this show is a romance anime, and romance relies off of good character relationships. And that is where 3D Girl Kanojo inevitably failed, and Wotakoi Life is Hard for Otaku succeeded. Thank you guys so much for watching, and please subscribe if you want to see more weekly content like this. This was a tough video to make because I absolutely love Wotakoi, and I wanted to talk so much about the characters, the comedy, and so on, but I didn't have the time and it didn't feel right in the video. So I actually talk a lot about Wotakoi in our podcast hallway chat. So I will link to that in the description and you can just kind of surf through our new channel. Make sure you give it a sub too. We're actually getting pretty close to hitting 1,000 subscribers on that channel. A huge shout out to all of my patrons. You guys are my heroes. If you're interested in seeing how I edit, chatting with me, or simply supporting the channel, I run a $1 a month Patreon to make that as easy as possible. Make sure you guys share, like, comment, and subscribe. This is Manime. Make sure you guys stay, man, go watch that goddamn anime!